You're locked on to Hans Olsen and Scotty Chin.
That's right.
Yeah! On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Big story up on the Hill, broke last night as Kyle Whittingham announced via a release that there is a move at offensive coordinator as Andy Ludwig, after so many years on the job, has stepped down. Hans?
Yeah, and if you're interested in Scotty and I's kind of in-depth take on that, you can go download this show, and in the opening segment, I went into detail of all the numbers that I'd put together for Andy Ludwig going back to 2019. I included some going back into 2008. I went through the quarterbacks that he's worked with, a lot of the running backs, the receivers that he's worked with, the yardages, yardage per game, points per game. I went through all the different numbers. And so you can get an idea of what Andy Ludwig was and has been for Kyle Whittingham, what their relationship has meant. And my take is Andy Ludwig truly did walk away from this game. I don't believe that Kyle Whittingham fired him. And I know that there are a lot of people out there suspecting that Kyle Whittingham fired him and that this is Kyle saying, hey, look, you want to save some face and go away? I just don't believe that's the case. He's done too much for Kyle. He's too good of a fit for Kyle. I think he's done dealing with kids. I think he's done taking blame. I think he's done trying to have her figure out what to do next when he thought he's going to have Cam and he thought that he might have Makai, but he doesn't know if he's going to have them and doesn't know what he's doing at offensive line. And he's got 2 offensive linemen that transferred just before the season. And he's now trying to recruit a quarterback out of North Los Angeles that wants $1.8 million before he even shows up on campus. And he pulled up to the desk after a loss against TCU, and Kyle said, what are we going to do? And Andy says, I'm done.
Yeah. I'm out. I can't do it anymore.
I'm done. I'm sick of dealing with these kids and their money, and I'm sick of them dealing with injury, and even though they're being paid, and I'm done. And I think it's best if I just leave and you guys kind of move through this season without me.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I get on the whole process.
Well, here's Kyle Whittingham addressing the media just an hour or so ago on Andy Ludwig's decision. He addresses that, who will be calling plays going forward, and any changes as to what this offense may look like right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
As I'm sure you probably heard, we've had a change on the coaching staff. Andy Ludwig, of his own volition, has decided to step down as the offensive coordinator. Can't say enough good things about Andy as far as our relationship, what he's meant to this program. We go way back, 30-plus years. Me and Andy go back and consider him a close friend. Tremendous offensive coordinator. Won a bunch of games together, championships together, and he will be missed. He's the consummate professional, and just again a great person and an outstanding football coach, and has had a very storied career. And we wish him the best in whatever future endeavors he undertakes. That being said, Mike Bajakian will be the interim offensive coordinator through the rest of the season. After the season, we'll evaluate where we are and press forward beyond that, depending on again what the circumstances are. Didn't play well Saturday night, obviously. As a team, defensively, we did some really good things. I thought, holding that offense to 13 points was outstanding. Played well on third down. Red zone defense was in particularly tough. I mean, they were outstanding in the red zone. 1 for 5. We allowed 1 touchdown. I think it was a blocked field goal, a couple field goals, and a turnover. And so that was what really kept us in the game, was the red zone defense and their performance there. Couldn't get much going on offense, and as bad as it was, at the end of the game, we had a chance to win. And we were right there at the end with a couple opportunities, a couple possessions to take the lead late in the fourth. Couldn't get it done, and so we came up short. give TCU credit. They played well defensively, maybe their best game on defense of the year. And so that's where we're at. We got Houston coming up, got to go on the road. And it'll be a 6 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. And, when you win, lose, or draw, well, I guess you can't draw anymore, but win or lose, you come in Monday and you've got to go back to work and get back after it and get ready for the next opponent. So that's where we're at. Questions?
Justin,
Do you want Justin first? Let's get Justin going. Oh, it didn't work last week to change up the...
I'm the designated asker, so maybe that'll change.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Justin's question is, with Coach Ludwig stepping down, are you concerned with the degeneration of offensive terminology with QB1 as the interim OC taking over? Have you ever faced this problem before in your 30 years career?
I don't think we've, to my recollection, replaced a coordinator during season. I think one year we changed play callers. But Mike is very well versed in our offensive scheme. Obviously, he's been with us for several months. He's got an excellent pedigree, great resume as far as coordinator experience. Tennessee, Cincinnati, Boston College. Sure, I'm forgetting somebody. Stint in the NFL, not as a coordinator, but as the quarterback coach at Tampa Bay. And so he comes with a strong resume and has been a play caller a lot of years. And so he was the circumstances and the situation we're in, the obvious choice to finish out the season with. And then again, we'll reevaluate at the end and decide what direction we're going to go.
Kyle, what was the conversation after the game with Andy in terms of just his future with the program, and how did he reach that decision and approach you about it afterwards?
Well, we didn't talk after the game. We talked on Sunday, yesterday, and so Andy just felt it was time for the offense to hear a new voice, have new leadership. He was really at a loss for the, why we were in the situation we're in. I mean, he's a guy that is as detailed as they get, and he really just had no solution to where we're at, and felt like again that maybe a new direction or at least a new leader at that position would maybe provide a spark.
How much confidence do you have that Mike Bajikian does have that solution and can get this offense back on track?
Confident. He's a very dynamic personality. He's got a lot of energy. He's upbeat, and I think that the players will respond. That's the hope. Yep.
So Kyle, Andy wasn't pushed or pressured?
Andy stepped down on his own volition. Exactly what I said. Yeah.
Well, obviously, mid-season, you probably can't change up a ton of stuff. Where do you expect to see some changes with Mike in the offensive play calling, or kind of what should we be looking for and what he did?
Well, we'll talk. It just happened yesterday, and so we'll see through conversation with Mike and see how the game planning goes in the next day or two, and there'll be some new wrinkles. There's not going to be wholesale change, I can tell you that. Mike has coordinated with the spread offense in the past, and so he's experienced and really on the same page as what we were already doing here. So it's not a complete new thing for him.
Obviously, like you said, Mike has had experience being an offensive coordinator in the past, but you've also had portions of your tenure where you've had co-offensive coordinators. Will that be sort of a situation with this?
No, absolutely not. Mike has complete autonomy and is the play caller as well as the O coordinator title, and it will be his show.
Yeah, to kind of follow up on that, and Rose was warming up on the sideline at points during Saturday night's game. Was there any consideration to bench Isaac at any point during that game?
Well, you're always looking for a spark when you're in the situation that we were in. And then Isaac hit that big pass to Money Parks, and we got the touchdown there. So there was no real, if this, then that. If this doesn't happen or if that does happen, then we're going to make a move. It was just get him ready because we hadn't been able to generate much offense at all at that point.
Mike is often the first person that Isaac talks to when he comes off the field. How will that relationship help him as offensive coordinator?
Well, Mike has been the quarterback coach, all season long. When they changed the rule, it allows for your analysts and whoever else really, within a certain extent, to become coaching and on the field as well as in the meeting room. So Andy was more of a NFL model, which a lot of teams are going to that, where the coordinators don't have a position of their own; they just oversee everything, and that was the way we were structured this year. So no change at all for the quarterbacks and who they've been hearing, and the meeting structure and that type of thing.
After the game, I don't know if you heard, but Isaac apologized to the defense. What does that say about his ownership and leadership as a true freshman?
It says a lot, and I wasn't aware of that until you just said that. So that's a stand-up thing to do, and Isaac is a tough kid. He's confident. He's a guy that has leadership qualities that you look for in a quarterback, and so it doesn't surprise me that he said that, but I see that as a positive.
When you look at the passing game and the rhythm of the passing game, is the ball coming out on time? Are the reads there? Is it connected? How would you describe it?
It's not always coming out on time. You'd like to get it out of your hand, sooner rather than later, and I think everyone in the country, strives for that same thing. We didn't play as well up front as we had in previous games, and protection broke down too many times. I think it was 4 sacks officially, and maybe a couple more where he just barely gained a little bit of yardage, which doesn't go down as a sack, and some hurries as well that he had to get rid of the ball. But you're always trying to get the throw game in sync and timed up, and the timing and the route structures, and we were still not good enough completion percentage-wise. I think we were 52 or 3% in that game, which is about where we've been for the season with Isaac, and so that's a work in progress and something that we need to continue to focus on.
In the search for a second running back, Jalen Glover's role has diminished versus the last 2 seasons. What's happened there?
Mike Mitchell has just outperformed him in practice as of late, and without a doubt, Mekhi Bernard is RB1 and will not leave the game unless he needs to take a break, which we've talked about his workload, and I think we were probably didn't lean on Mekhi as much as we should have in that last game, but Jalen Glover's he's with the travel squad. He's working hard, and we'll see if he gets opportunities. It'll be based on performance in practice, whether that happens or not.
Coach, what have you identified as the root causes to the struggles, and do you feel J-Team can address them?
Well, it's a myriad of things. It's not one thing. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes in the run game, someone going the wrong way in the run and block schemes. Route structure sometimes not as clean as it needs to be, and so I'm not going to sit here and say it's pinned to this one exact thing, because there's just improvement that needs to take place across the board with that.
Now, kind of jumping off that a little bit, on Saturday you said the next 48 hours there's going to be a lot of introspection, kind of looking at the program. Outside of Andy leaving, are there any other changes maybe in how you're doing things, or personnel, or different things that you're hoping to get out for the next week?
Well, we're playing really good on defense, and so it's not like we have a team-wide problem going on right now. We just need to get some things generated offensively, and the first 4 games of the season we weren't real prolific, but we were pretty good generating offense and doing what we needed to do. But ever since Cam slid into that Gatorade cart, whatever, it's been a struggle, and so that's us as coaches got to figure out how to break out of it. We still got 5 games left, obviously, and so there's a lot of football in front of us. But right now, we're still searching for those answers offensively.
After the game, you mentioned that the team needs to stick together. In terms of the 3-game losing streak, has there been any fracturing, I guess, at the locker room in terms of mentality, focus? And if there is, how are you, as a coach, trying to correct that if it is happening?
Absolutely none of that to my, from what I've observed. We talked to the team, and it's been a conversation in other years as well, and can't detect any sort of division, divisiveness, none of that going on. We've got a lot of high character players in that locker room, and I would be very surprised if that crept in, and you address it, because obviously it's a natural thing to possibly happen in the circumstances that we're in, but so far all positive, and the mentality is, hey, if we score 7 points, then we better allow 6 or less. That's how it is, and that's the mentality you have to have, because once you start thinking that one side of the ball's got all the answers, then that's when you really have problems.
When you have an entrenched starter at quarterback like Cam was going into the season, how hard is it to get a grad transfer to come?
Hard, really hard. And so it's because the grad transfers are transferring for a reason, because they don't see daylight at where they're at, and they want to get into a spot where they can play right away, and that's the primary reason people transfer, is to get to a place that they're going to get to play sooner. And so when you do have as you said, an entrenched starter and a guy that's one of the elite quarterbacks in the country, you're not going to get now. And it's a little bit relative. If you're a younger kid, but typically a younger guy's not proven yet. So I don't know how we define that, but you're not going to get a guy like Cam Ward or whatever to come to a place that has an established starter that's one of the elite quarterbacks.
There you go. Kyle Whittingham, again, saying multiple times that it was Andy Ludwig's decision.
Yeah.
And went into the details of the conversation, and it sounds exactly like what you felt like it was, where he walked into the office and said, "Hey, we gotta figure this out." And he said, "Look, I don't have the answers for you."
I felt that. I have felt that since I heard that Andy Ludwig was walking away. So.
And said, essentially, you know what? Maybe somebody else can give you a spark. It's not going to be me.
That came pretty quick, and I just think if people are doubting it and people are just dead set on believing that Kyle Whittingham fired him, then all I would ask you to do is go back and look at Ludwig's resume, look at who he's worked with and what he's pieced together, look at Kyle Whittingham's biggest accomplishments as a coach have included Andy Ludwig as an offensive coordinator. I think that's probably the most important thing for you to look at. So if you're just sitting there thinking, oh, well, Kyle Whittingham got fed up with it, he knew that there had to be a change, he fired Andy Ludwig, take a look at every major Kyle Whittingham accomplishment and look who the coordinator was when they accomplished it. It was Andy Ludwig.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I also happen to know that those two are very close friends. It's the reason Andy Ludwig returned. This is sudden, it's extreme, it feels off and awkward, but I believe that Andy Ludwig is just tired of dealing with it all.
Yeah.
And if you look at Cam Rising over the last couple of years, I would be too. Cam leaves, and what I'm dealing with is a rushing quarterback in Nate Johnson, a pig farmer in Bryson Barnes, and a tough guy in Luke Batari. And I'm trying to piece together a quarterback room. Now, some of that could be my fault. Maybe I didn't recruit enough over the top or underneath Cam Rising. But I did that twice when I brought in Jake Bentley and Charlie Brewer, and it just didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
Cam just beat them both out, and I made a bunch of promises that didn't work out, and I fully expected Cam Rising to be 100% until he ran into that Gatorade bottle. So I'm sure that he was just fed up to the gills.
Yeah. Hans and Scotty, you're listening to 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's official. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment right here on the Zone. Your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The wheel is loaded, and it's time to talk some sports. This is Sports Roulette with Hans and Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Running a little bit behind, so let's get to it. Time for another edition of Sports Roulette. Take some of the big storylines, put it on a roulette wheel, we spin it. Wherever that little ball lands is what we end up talking about. By the way, Hans, you and I are going to be hanging out at Bar W coming up.
Yes.
Coming up on Thursday. We will be there. We'd love to see you hang out with us.
Let the good times roll.
Bar W Beef, only in Nephi. We're making the trip down south and could not be happier to do it. Also, speaking of special programming coming up this weekend, we've got our basketball roundtable show. That's going to be tomorrow from 3 to 6 at JCW's in South Jordan, right across the street from Mulligan's.
Oh, man, it's jam-packed here on the zone.
Get you a shake, get you some wings.
But just get ready for the Bar W.
Oh, boy.
We're going to be selling quarter calf. We're going to be selling half cow. We're going to be doing like these big just beef and meat packages that people can come in and purchase and fill their freezer with the top-end beef that you can find.
Yeah.
That sounds like a coffee, a half calf.
Oh, you want a half calf?
We're going full calf.
You want a venti? What do you want?
We'll make it happen for you.
We got everything you want. Seriously, this is one to put in the books. Scott and I have been enjoying the incredible juicy flavors of
Have we ever?
Bar W.
Yep. All right, let's get to it. Lloyd, spin that wheel.
BYU put on a show.
You know, Scotty, we mentioned this a little bit in the Morning After podcast, but I do want to go a little bit further with this because it is becoming the norm. And we have discussed this for probably the better part of the 10 years we've been together. The world of attending sports is dwindling because of the in-home experience. And what I'm watching from the booth as I'm calling these games, whether it's at LaVell Edwards Stadium or otherwise, but more importantly, at LaVell Edwards Stadium, it is becoming one of the more incredible shows.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're taking the money that they're getting from attendance and they're putting it back into the show to make sure that the show is a show. And BYU had this incredible drone show that was going throughout the game. It was there for the opener. It was there for the halftime. It was there for the closing. They're still firing off probably $15,000, $20,000 worth of fireworks. At the end of the game, they're firing off these huge fireworks with the big explosion. They've got these massive fire pipes that they roll out onto the field. These fire pipes shoot fire so high that you can feel the heat all the way up in the media booth.
That's awesome.
It's insane what they're doing with the fire. They're putting Cosmo on top of the scoreboard. It was reminiscent of when Michael Jackson showed up at halftime all the way at the top. Was that the Coliseum? I was bringing this up with Greg. You remember the Michael Jackson show?
I can't remember where that was at.
He was all the way on top of the highest point. That was Cosmo. They put Cosmo all the way at the very top of that thing, and they gave him a drum, and he sat there and beat on drums that were electronically plugged into the sound system, and everybody was getting hyped with it. They've installed LED lighting in all of the light system. So they turn the lights completely off in the stadium, and then they do this LED light show where they're flashing lights to the beat of the sound, and everything is different. And you have to do this because the crowd is helping BYU.
Yes.
It is crazy. You get into the rock section, and if the opposing team's back is to the rock section, you could do research and you could find so many offsides, so many delay of games, so many stupid mistakes. There was a point where Oklahoma State was trying to audible kind of late in the game. They were trying to audible, and Bowman could not relay the audible. So he was having to run over to one of the tackles and then run over to the other tackle. Guess what? Delay a game. Delay a game. And that's because you get the crowd. So you're having to do crazy things to keep the crowd. But as you're now keeping the crowd, you're keeping them in the game, and it's making it hard for the opponent. So, I would say every stadium out there, you got to continue to innovate. You know, I want Maverick Stadium at Merlin Olsen Field. I want them to continue to innovate, be creative. Diana Sabo, make that a game day experience that if football's not going so well, it's still a show.
Yeah.
That everybody's got to attend for one reason or the other. You don't want to miss the show. It is a show at LaVell Edwards Stadium right now.
Well, and I think there's a lot of administrators out there that say, hey, it's up to the crowd to provide the juice. No, you provide the juice to the crowd, the crowd brings the juice to the players.
Yes. And I'm really excited to call this game at Rice-Eccles Stadium here in a few weeks because I have not had an opportunity, just with my game calling duties, I have not had an opportunity to be in a game in that stadium. I'm excited to see their game day operations.
Yeah.
Just to see,
they do a good job.
Just to see what they're doing for Rice-Eccles Stadium because Utah fans deserve a show because they make it such. Now, it's going to be hyped up because it's the rivalry game, so I might get an overly juiced portion of what they do at Rice-Eccles, but I'm so excited to be in that stadium here in a few weeks.
Lloyd, let's spin it.
Any interest in this?
I'm going to direct this to Lloyd because I think I know your answer.
Okay.
Yankees, Dodgers.
No.
Same.
No.
Hands?
Yes.
No.
No. You got the two most obnoxious fan bases. I could not be further away from my TV than this.
Oh.
Like, I'll watch it because we have to watch it.
The Dodgers are my Dodgers. Well.
Yeah.
They're my Well, I have watched the Dodgers more in person than anybody else in this room has watched any game, so that makes me the bigger fan.
Yeah, well,
it's true. You are a bigger fan.
I did know you were Dodgers. That's why I kind of figured you would be on board with this.
I'm pretty pumped about it.
I could not be less interested. You know that, and I've made this comparison before on several other games, but I want Bane to come out in one of the portals and blow up the field. That's who I'm cheering for between these two teams.
Jeez, it's that bad for you?
No, I'm just joking. I'm just saying, like, I have no interest. Like, if there was a way for both teams to lose the World Series, is what I'm saying, it would be that.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me the worst games possible, the worst ratings. I don't even care.
Yeah,
Mets, Padres, I would have been all about.
Like, you're looking at the two highest payrolls.
It's all it is just a reminder that
they bought their way.
They bought their way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Game one is this Friday, and it's a 6 o'clock start, and it's on Fox, and I will be watching.
The fact that I actually have to root for the Yankees.
I know, right?
Like the fact that I have to root for the Yankees.
Hey, wait a second. I jump on board with your stuff. Why can't
Shut
you
up.
just
I'm not hopping on board with the Dodgers. Are you kidding me?
Just put your Giants fandom aside for a second. And let my Dodgers finally go get one. They've never had one, have they?
No.
Have they ever had?
They got one in 2020.
Okay, well, before that,
does that really count? One? Yes. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, Kirk Gibson.
Yeah, Oral Hershiser.
Well, before that, had they had one?
Yeah, with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Well, how about that before then?
Well, there wasn't really baseball before that. Like,
how about before that? Yes, it's been like the Dodgers and the Yankees.
Gosh.
Yes, they've bought lots of championships.
Hey, I do. I don't want to make this a somber conversation, but this is a reminder that if we do get the Black Diamond Major League Baseball team here in Salt Lake, it better come with deep pockets.
Yep, you better be ready to spend.
You're going to have to spend mucho dollars. I did, if you are interested. Oh, Lloyd's saying rap. I do
Just
have
spit it out. Let's go.
do have here in front of me going back 10 years of champions and where they were on the spending list. Are you interested?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
I kind of am, actually.
Just kidding.
Go
ahead.
We'll break it down on the other side. Hans and Scotty will wrap this thing up and get you ready for JJ and Alex. And the last 10 World Series winners and their payroll next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's game week for the Utes, and the Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. Kyle Whittingham and the Utes will try to snap their 3-game losing skid and get the season back on track with a road battle against Houston. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Ute football. Then catch the Ute pregame show this Saturday at 4 with a postgame show immediately following the game. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Looking for the latest on the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, and Aggies? Yeah! We've got you covered. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty wrapping up another edition of the show right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You have your last 10?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, I want to know this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell. Lloyd,
No, I'm all in. Lloyd, not so much.
Okay. Back in 2014, the Giants won it.
Yeah.
They were the 7th highest payroll.
Okay.
154 million. 2015, the Royals won it. 16th highest payroll at 114.
Surprised they were that high.
At 114 million. 2016, the Cubs won it. 14th highest payroll, 117 million. By the way, I can give you the losers in their payroll too. In fact, this one, 2017, the Astros, they were the 18th highest payroll, 124 million. They beat the Dodgers,
number one,
who are the number one payroll in that weird World Series.
They had to cheat to do that, by
Lloyd,
the way.
yeah, they did.
No, the Astros.
Yeah, I know.
2018, the Red Sox won it as the number one payroll, $235 million. They beat the Dodgers that were number 3 in the payroll. 2019, 7th highest payroll, the Nationals, $154 million. 2020, the Dodgers, 2nd highest payroll at $105 million. They beat the Rays that was 27th. 2021, the Braves were 13th highest at $134 million. 22, Astros were 11th highest at $164. And 2023, the Rangers were the 9th highest payroll at $183 million, and they beat the Diamondbacks that were the 19th highest payroll. So, you know, you've got a lot of ones in there. The Red Sox won it as the highest paid. The Dodgers won it as the 2nd highest paid. But you boys are right. The Dodgers and Yankees, it's basically we paid the most and we get the rights for the World Series.
You mentioned the Giants. They were 7th, and all that money was all pitching. They had like no offense hardly. Yeah. It's all pitching.
All right, Hans and Scotty, Dave Nellis. Bottom line is you have to be in the top half of the league. I mean, there was one 18th in there, but other than that, you got to be top half.
You got to be at the top, easily in the top half. Most of these are top 10.
Yeah. Hans and Scotty, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.